Hi guys, Rachele here with Amethyst Ascension, and we are getting back to our Craft Corner Thursday. And so the next thing that we are going to do once we have our cabochon all done like this, remember the next thing that we're going to do now, because what I want to do here with this is make it into a pendant. So on this side, I'm going to create the veil, and on this side, I'm going to put the fringe. So I'm probably going to do the fringe from this bead to this bead over here. From this bead to this bead. So I've got about 1.5 lengths of my fire line strung up again onto one of my 2.5, 3-inch long beading needles. So the first thing I'm going to do is just run it through. Let's see, I'm going to be doing this side. So I'm going to start right there. And I'm going to run it through. Okay. Yup, and if you hear another little poopy dog, that is because my mother and stepfather are here, staying for about, 10 days or so. And so they brought their 2 little doggies. So we have a house full. We are like a jungle right now, or a zoo, I should say. So the next thing I'm going to do is guide my bead, or guide my thread, rather, into, okay, you know what? Time to grab those pliers again, like we did in the last video, so that we can grab a hold of this, because it wants to slip. Especially, there we go. So you see what I'm doing? I came in, because I want to start a new thread. 1 bead, 1 outside bead, and I'm going in the very next. So I'm going to hold my cord that I started off with, my tail, and I'm going to run this other one all the way through. And then I've left about a 12-inch, just so, like as in the last time, we can run it back through, okay? Because we don't want to see any of the cord. So I'm going to tie it off just a couple of times, like tying your shoe, making a knot in your shoes. Like I said, don't worry, because you're not really going to see anything that's on the outside edge, because we're going to be edging it with some smaller seed beads. Okay, so I'm going to take it right back on up that first bead that I originally went through. Or you know what? I'm going to take it through the one that I just came out of. Or let me see here. I'm just gauging here. I'm just going to take it right on up the same bead that I just came out of, trying to not catch it on any other string. I mean, if you do, it's not the end of the world. We can manipulate it. This really is a very forgiving process. And worst case scenario, you have to pull it back out, right? We don't want to do that, but if we have to, we can. Okay. The reason I did that is because, like I said a couple of minutes ago, I want to start my fringe on this one. So I probably, when you're seeing this, maybe go through this one and come back through. It doesn't really matter because you're tying it off anyways. So it's going to be good and secure, but if you want to make your life a little bit easier, just start off this one and come out that one. That way, once you tie it off, you're already coming out of the bead that you want to be coming out of. Okay, so I'm just going to tuck that tail underneath so that I don't get it mixed with anything. And we are going to now determine how we want our fringe. What we want it to look like, how long we want it to fall, what seeds we want to use with seed beads. So I know that I definitely want to use these 4. Okay, so I think I'm going to start off with this one. And then I'm going to add, I don't know. You know what? Let's just put them all out and we'll see as it goes what it looks like. And there's an easy way to do that too, which is another benefit of having a long needle. And that's just putting it right on your needle itself. Yep, that's solely you hear. Okay. So I've got my 4 piles. And my fringe is not going to start off all the same length. Like this one's going to be a little bit shorter, then a little bit longer, longer. You'll see as we move along in the process, okay? So, with that being said, I think I'm going to string 5 of the light colored ones. And then I think I will do 5 of the purple. Don't worry about it, Ma. It's okay. The joys of furry parenthood. Okay, so now I'm stringing, oops, let me get under the camera here. 5 of the, like, lavender colored. And then I think I will do 3 of, like, the iridescent. Do you see that? Okay. I don't know if you're seeing this. Okay. 3 of this other color. I'm going to string it all the way down there. Yeah, I like that. And then I'm going to do one of these. One of your bugle beads. And I'm going to do 3 of the iridescent ones again. And you know what? I'm just not happy with that. So, I don't like the way that looks. So, I'm going to take this right back on through and come right back out the very first one. And hopefully we have not gone through our other bead or our other cord, and see, we've got a clean strand again. But another way of checking it is, and I kind of started to touch on this. A lot of this is going to be trial and error, you know, deciding what you like, what you don't like. But you can put it right on your needle and just leave it. So, let's see. Yeah, I do like that. I like that one. That looks good. So, you know what? I'm going to pause this for a couple of minutes, and I'm going to figure out my design, because I'm not really happy with the ones that I have chosen. I want to get a little bit more of this color in there as well to tie it all, but I also want to introduce the lavender, because when you get up close, you'll see that these all have hints of all the different colors. They're all very muted. Okay, so I want to kind of introduce all of those, but I think I need like a muted green. So I need a couple of minutes to go through all of my beads and decide what colors I want to work with. And now would be a great time for you to also, if you haven't already, go pick out some beads that you want to do your fringe with if you plan on doing a fringe. All right, I'll see you in a couple minutes. Okay, so I think I decided on a pattern. We'll see. So I strung everything that I'm going to for the first one. And my very last bead, I saved that as like a stopper bead or whatever you want to call it. So you go through it, and then when you're coming back up through all of the strands, all of the beads, you don't go through that one. So that stays like a, which I'll show you when I get it all the way through here. Oops. Which you'll see here in just a second. Okay, so this is like the end bead that the thread went through. So you come out all of them, and then you go back through all of them, except for going back through the last one, because then it would pull everything out, right? And what I'm probably going to do with each one is lengthen or add, well, okay, I've gone back through the original one. Now I've got to go back through the next one down. Come on. You gotta love your handy dandy pliers, right? Now I'm sure you've gotten to the point where you understand how you have to be really careful with the needle, because it's easy to break them off. I'm just going to hold my tail out of the way, and then I'm going to string the same way that I did, adding 5, but I think I'll add 6 this time instead of 5 in order to bring it down a little bit, because I want to add approximately 1 extra bead to each round in order to gradually lengthen the fringe, because my fringe, I would like it to come out like almost like a V or a U, and you'll see what I mean as it goes on. come on. I gotta curve it up because it's like all under now. Okay, then I'm going to add another one of these and my stopper bead. I'm going to run it all the way. Oh, no. Okay, sometimes you get beads that just don't have a big enough hole and your needle will stop it. And that was the case. So, as you can see, it's a little bit longer than the other one. And that's okay. You want it to be gradual. Well, you probably can't see because I'm not close enough. See, it's slightly longer. And what I did was add one more of these 5 beads that's closest to your cabochon. And then all the rest in the same pattern. And I'm going to go back up through all of these. Come on. Let me do that so that I can get a little bit closer, hold it down here. There we go. And take it slow because you can easily knot up your cord. Let's put the other original tail underneath there. Let's move this down. It's a little bit tougher right now because it's not all the way down. You have a stopper bead now. Okay. And there's the second one. So I'm going to come back up here. Another thing, like I said, here's the second one. Another thing, as you're going through these, because you have a larger end bead or edge bead, and these are smaller, if you're using smaller ones, smaller seed beads on your fringe, if you want, you can put 2 fringes per, depending on, what did I do here? What did I do here? Too busy talking, as usual. And I've done something already. Okay, time to tear it apart. Well, not tear it apart, but pull my cord out. I must have accidentally went. What did I do here? I don't know how the heck I did that. Really, I don't. Come on. Okay. Not sure what I did there. So, you pretty much understand, in theory, how to do a fringe. This is going to be, it's going to take you a little bit of time, simply because you're going to mess with the design, and you know, you may not like how it turns out. So, if so, that's okay. Just pull it out and start again. But like I was saying, if you want to put 2 per bead, per edge bead, then you can easily just go back and do 2 strands for each large bead. It does not have to be 1 strand each. But, I mean, you'll know in your design, or if all else fails, if you'd like it to be more substantial, and you got your larger beads, and you just want to make a simple fringe that matches the outside of it, especially for the first time, then just go ahead and use the same size. Or you don't even have to do a fringe. I'm just choosing to do a fringe, but I might end up going back and adding 1 more in between each one. It just really depends. And, you know, with that being said, you could go back through each one of them, and because if you don't like the distance in between, and you could do another fringe that's different, that's kind of like laying on top of it with another little bead, like a bead like that hanging, or like a freshwater pearl, a tiny one. But just keep in mind, whatever you're beading, you're going to want to make sure that the holes are big enough to be sewn, because some beads don't have big enough holes to be sewn. Okay, so what I'm going to do, you have the general idea. To do fringe, after you've tied your stuff off, you're going to come out the bead that you want to start fringing, and then you just start putting your beads in whatever order. I mean, if you wanted to do a couple of rows of bugle beads and different colored bugle beads, and using bigger beads right out of the get-go, you can do whatever you want. Just experiment with it. So you're going to come out, you're going to have 1 stopper bead, or you could do like 3 beads at the bottom, like this edging, in order to, you know, use as like your stopper beads or whatever. And then you go right back up the strand that you started, and then you come out the next edging bead, and that's how you do your fringe. Okay, so I'll meet you on the other side after I've done some more fringe for you to see a more progressed version. Okay, guys, let's try this again. So I have gone through, and as you see here, I've made my first row, and although I like how it looks, I want it to be a little bit fuller. Now, the only thing I changed on each one of these going down was, at this end, I started with 5 of my first kind of beads. Then I did 6, 7, all the way up until my middle bead was 13 up here. And then back down all the way to 5 over here. So now what I'm doing is coming back the other way, and I'm going to put a row of fringe in between each of these, but see how I've done this one a little bit different, just to give it a little bit of a flair. So what I'm going to do is go in between, and the way that you go in between is I've come out this one, I'm going to do my beads, then come back up and go through this one. And then just keep going back and forth all the way down, making my way through one bead and then going through the other in between each of the first rows. So when I finish that, I will show you where I'm at. And then if you need further assistance, you just let me know. Leave me a comment, okay? Hey guys, so I am coming to the end of my bead strand, or my thread, And I wanted to show you really quick how to tie this off. Now, if you remember, when we first started the fringe, we had our little tail over here, right? So we're going to run this back up and take note of where your fringe left off so that you can come back down where you need to in order to finish off your fringe. But what we're going to do, we're not going to cut any of the tails off at this point because we can keep tying off the tails at the same spot. But if you do end up cutting it off, that's fine. We can always find another spot. And then after you have tied it off, so anyways, let me show you really quick. So this is where my thread is right now. I'm going to pull this up underneath of these beads. I'm going to run it along in the tube. And then I'm going to come out approximately where my other bead is, or where my other thread is. I'm going to tie it off. And then I'm going to take both ends of the thread and weave it back into the tubes, the inside tubes. Remember how we do that? And then because we have more fringe that we have to do, at least because I have to, if you end up running out of thread, this is how you would do it. I'm going to tie it off in another spot again, like where I'm going to be starting, and finish off. And then I'll bring my string back when I'm done with my fringe and tie it off again. Or if you have a whole lot of thread left, then we can start the edging or work our way around and start the bail area, which is going to be up here because the fringe is here. And then once we have our bail done and we have our fringe completely done, well, our fringe first, then a bail, then we're going to go through and edge everything. Okay? So I'll see you in a bit. Hey guys, so I have completed the fringe, at least for now. I might add some bigger, like little short things here, but we'll see. So what I've done is run my string all the way up to what I would say is pretty much the center. And we're going to leave it off and start on the next Thursday doing the bail. So I want to give you guys the time to actually go through and play with the fringe. If you don't like it, don't be afraid to pull it out and begin again. Okay? But, and there's no right or wrong way. You can use whatever you want. You don't have to have a pattern. You could have all just one bead if you really wanted. But there's a few simple things that you're going to want to remember. Now, you're going to want to have an end bead. And if you look at these, I had 3 end beads. And then in the center, I did something a little bit different. They're not laying quite right, but I kind of like that look. So that's where it's at so far, and I'm just going to leave it at this until next Thursday when we're going to be doing the bail and then finishing off all of these edges. Okay? So I'll see you then. I hope you liked this video. If so, give me a like. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And don't forget to hit the little notification bell so that you can be notified of future videos. Thank you so much. Sending you love and light.